podcast.
Yo, what's going on, blessed ones? Welcome to The Vibe. This is your host, Blair, your cancer care bear. All faith, no fear. No hair, don't care. And I'm going to get right into the smoke. I might have or might not have already addressed this, but I want to talk about men and their mental health. I was actually on Facebook earlier, and it was talking about how Tyrese became a meme behind not being able to see his daughter, and how Will Smith became a meme behind his wife having an affair and Kanye West having a breakdown all the time on national television. And this wasn't included, but Michael Jordan became a meme just from crying. I mean, that's understandable when someone passes away, but it's like everyone becomes a meme behind different circumstances. And yes, it's entertaining, and yes, it's all fun and games. It is funny, but I just want to address it, because again, as we all know, the world is changing, and I say this all the time. The world, especially in America, it's a patriarchal society. The men gotta be the providers, the protectors. They can't show any sad emotions. We have to be strong. We can't, we have to, stand on our own. We're supposed to be dependent on, not dependents. And me coming from a Christian household, and a household where I was raised by both my parents. Now, though my parents didn't stay married, as I continued to experience life and get older, I still had an active male role model and an active woman role model in my parents, who I have also witnessed certain things that maybe a kid probably shouldn't witness. But again, coming from the 21st century, coming from, the 20th and 21st century, being an 80s baby, growing up in the 90s, there's a lot of different factors when it comes to mental health. Because again, mental health been around from my research since like the 1800s, but it wasn't really something that was discussed or really addressed until recently, like within the last 10 years. I could be wrong, fact check me on this. But, we have a whole community, especially in the black community, but not just the black community, but a whole culture, the men culture of tough guys, gangsters, killers, hood niggas, rich niggas, and being broke and being sensitive has never been one of those type of things that a man should do, a man should be. And I just want to address this because I take pride into me being a Cancer, caring, being a very outspoken, honest individual. I too can be a victim of the internet. But I don't allow myself to be, because, like I said, it's all entertainment, and a lot of things are funny, a lot of things are not. But I really wanted to change the narrative. Part of being in the Blair is not just vibing out, not just having thought-provoking conversations. It's also about changing the narrative. You see, I've been in relationships. I've been in good relationships, I've been in bad relationships, but never have it been a point where I wasn't sensitive to where I wasn't sensitive when things go wrong. For me personally, I always seem to, encourage being the bigger person. I always encourage and, being forgiving, being understanding. I always take pride in a lot of these characteristics that I can say the normal man or the typical man isn't going to be or isn't going to do. So when I saw that post, I was like, it's a time and place. It's a time and place to do that, because again, the internet is undefeated, and no matter what your excuse is, the majority rules. But like I said, I'm gonna change the narrative, meaning that it is okay. It is okay for men to show emotion, because just like again, the world is changing, and with there being more women being celebrated for being independent, being strong, being the queens that they are, we also have to take an account of celebrating the men who are in touch with their emotional side. Not necessarily saying that we ought to put our business all the way out there, but a lot of times when you want to reach out to someone and they're not listening, you are then kind of moved to tell someone else. Some people have different outlets. Some people might maybe write a book. Some people might make a song. Some people might, do it in art, some type of form of other expression. But others do it in social media. And social media is, social media can be the devil at times. Because what you know. And what you don't, well, that can get you. What you don't know won't hurt you. But also, lack of knowledge will be the death of you. So, really, for me, being a black man in America, being 34, being a Cancer, being a father, being a former husband, being all these different things, there's certain responsibilities that I have to take on. There's certain accountabilities that I can't escape. There's certain hats that I have to wear. Like I said, it's just all based on time and place. I guess you could say checks and balances is just certain things like, but for me, I don't like that as much as the world is changing, especially with equal rights and certain things like with cancel culture, it's a shame that men are still being held to such a unrealistic standard of being like what do you say, unvulnerable? Like we can't be vulnerable. But then again, it's like, are we only supposed to be vulnerable with our significant other? Because it's like I like my dad was never like, I never seen my dad be one of those guys that, that was very aggressive. He was stern, and like I said again, maybe because part of who he is comes a lot from being a preacher's son and being around mainly women. But I never seen my dad, even in the times him and my mom had gotten arguments, I never seen him being like aggressive in a sense like that. You know, my dad, my older brother, my granddad, cousins, older cousins, and my uncles, like all these men that's in my life that I know, they all are a part of who I am. They are all a part of who I am today as a man, as a father, as a friend, as a brother, and as a son. And me being a father, my son is part of who I am. So it is very fair to say that men can be vulnerable. Men be vulnerable when you want to be vulnerable, but just be careful and be mindful of your surroundings. But it's just kind of wild where the mental health of men is still even frowned upon. And like I said, I could be wrong, but like again, I don't know a lot of these people personally that we celebrate or make memes out of. So this like my social media, the internet is my source of information. And just the things that I watch and things that I listen to is like it's the same. Like men are held to such a higher standard, and that could be part of because we had so much power and we had so much going on that is going to be we're too far removed not to be. We cannot not be vulnerable. Men who are vulnerable are weak, the world looks at it as. And if that's the case, if that is true, God is my witness, then okay, fine, weak. But look, the thing about it is, those men that are vulnerable, women, you should be proud and happy that you have a man that is in touch with his emotions, that's caring like that. Because I know how women can be when a nigga don't care. When a man is careless and reckless with himself, he treats you reckless and careless. A lot of these single mom homes, a lot of these broken homes due to the lack of vulnerability men are due to the lack of support men get. Why you gotta be out here in the streets selling drugs? Why you gotta sit here and have hoop dreams? Why you gotta be a rapper? Why can't you have a real 9 to 5 job? Why can't you, make minimum wage and just get by? That's not the American dream. I mean, who wants to sit here and make $20,000 a year their whole life? But all I'm saying is, we have to have a little bit more support. Men needs support as well, because I'm not just like right here, right now. I'm not really just speaking for myself. I'm speaking for men who are sensitive, men who do have mental breakdowns publicly, because trust me, a lot of these episodes, these prior episodes, was really me being transparent and vulnerable. But I will say that as a man, first and foremost, I'm still human. As a man, as a father, as a brother, like, again, I work with women, I have lived with women, I have been in relationships with women, I have been surrounded by women just as much as I've been surrounded by men, maybe even women more. So a lot of times with men like that, you're going to have some insensitivities, but you're also going to have some sensitivity and vulnerability, because, like I said, it's in our genetic makeup. A lot of things kind of rubs off on us. But I just don't like the stigma that men have to be, men can't show soft emotions, men can't be vulnerable, because it's bullshit to me. Again, you can, hey, sue me for my opinion. Sue me for my opinion, but at the same time, just remember, if this world had been a patriarch for so long, and the system is still trying to correct itself with all these entitled men being, hey, they gotta be in charge, and the presidents and all this stuff, you really want to have a little bit more support and respect for men who are sensitive and vulnerable. Otherwise, it's gonna be damn you to hell. We don't give a shit about nobody's feelings, because the one thing I always say is always love and respect the women, but men, shoot, we sit here and beef with each other like that's just competition. But the vulnerable side of it is have some think about things other than yourself. I think a lot of times men's strength and having that hard shell comes from the fact that, not from the fact that they're gonna be teased, or their woman's not gonna respect them. It's because of other men. Like I said, when you're in competition, it's always, like when you are a man, no matter what type of field you're in, it's a competition. So a lot of times that bleeds off onto other areas of our life. But that's pretty much all I had to say. Again, y'all stay blessed, stay prosperous, stay productive, stay safe. And remember, I'm Blair, the Cancer Care Bear. Thank you for listening.